Oh, hello there, Site 42 staff, as well as those of you from the greater SCP Foundation community, and welcome to another Coffee Break with Dr. Sherman, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site 42. As always, I am Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director and Head Containment Specialist here at Site 42 of the SCP Foundation. And as we have done every day for the last 7 3/4 months, the daily streak remains strong, damn it. I am here to open my office doors to you, the SCP Foundation staff, to answer your burning questions, quite literally depending on the cognitohazard, about this dark and mysterious place we call our workspace, the SCP Foundation. So whether you have questions about the anomalies we contain, the staff who contain them, the groups of interest who get just so grumpy about this whole containing thing, they're really just grumps. And of course, hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the SCP Foundation's purview. Perhaps they're from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom. Either way, we are here for the next approximately 75 to 90 minutes for this coffee break. But before I get to the standard Q&A, let me start with a little housekeeping. First of all, Eggs Benedict, congratulations on being the #1 most punctual member of today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. Congratulations on being first chatter. Furthermore, Rave Haven, King of ADHD, Game 1 Peeps, Nicky Knackle, Dr. Golden, Senior Researcher Alex, Haunted Researcher, XL Official, Fanta, long time no see Fanta, 369 Destroyer, Kinzin, everyone who I have just named, thank you for being exceptionally punctual today, and thank you for being members of Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service. Furthermore, Ben, Raddick, Cheese, WD Gaster, and Nomad of the Nebula. Welcome to today's stream. Thank you for being punctual, and thank you for being here just for being you today. Cheese, the answer to your query is a simple no. SCPs are not real. Although it is a very fun creative writing community for creepypasta and science fiction enjoyers, and there is a little suspension of disbelief when reading the stories, we break kayfabe if anyone straight up asks if SCPs are real, because in 2015, 2 friends stabbed their 3rd friend because they thought Slender Man told them to. And so we don't pretend the creepypastas are real, because children are dumb or psychopathic, one or the other. Now, Emperor, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself, I guess, some beans on your way past the commissary. I hear they can be quite musical this time of year. Kaisel, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a plate of apples and cheese on your way past the commissary. And you didn't send a message with your donation, so simply thank you for your generosity. Your generational generosity. And Senior Researcher Alex, thank you for your 8-month member message as a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. We greatly appreciate the research and breakthroughs you have come up with to help us win the battle against the white names. Grab yourself a cherry cola on your way past the commissary. Dr. Sherman, how's your marriage with SCP-72? Oh! 9-J. Well, that's a big fuck you to you, my good sir. There was no marriage. It's a not funny joke, and all of you are bastards for keeping it up. The Emperor, thank you for donating again to grab your beans in a malicious manner. You enjoy those beans. Good morning, Amber and Java Name. Good to see you in the stream, and thank you for being members. Now, before I continue the Q&A and then move on to our stream subject, no. Let me talk about the stream subject. So, it is a common refrain with an N in the offsite community that power scaling has infected the SCP wiki. That, oh my god, all of SCP is just universe-destroying characters and kids on the playground going, nuh-uh, my guy beats your guy. Nuh-uh, he dodged that super powerful god blast. And to be fair, I am part of the problem sometimes. When I answer queries from the SCP community, many of them are who could beat who, like action figures. And you know what? There is some fun to be had with power scaling from time to time. I am a death battle enjoyer. R.I.P. Ash Ketchum. Spoilers. Sorry. That was my bad. Amnestics. You forgot I said that. Anyways. So, yes, today... No, Amber, we're not in a bad place today. I'm just talking about it because today, my video that we released for the short is one of the SCP shower thoughts. And it was, could the Scarlet King beat the Gate Guardian? And depending on who you ask, you'll get a bunch of different answers. SCP Explained definitely has a video out there where I believe it came to a draw. Now, I'm a believer that that's just not the case. And my logic is quite simple. The Scarlet King is a threat to the entire multiverse. The Gate Guardian is protecting one gate on one planet in one universe. So, you know, I just think Scarlet King's a little bigger. Now, we do know the Scarlet King can be defeated by at least two things. We know it can be defeated by something called, I think it's the All Death? The All Death. There were the three brothers' death, and the big one, the Scarlet King's afraid of. We know the Scarlet King's afraid of the All Death. But also, in one of my old school Sherm's Declassified Skip Survival Guides, I did an episode called The Scarlet King Declassified. And in that video, I denoted the end of a long canon in the SCP database, and in that long canon series, the Scarlet King starts Endgame, tries to end the entire multiverse, and I'm pulling up the transcript of that video now, where I describe what done it. Because otherwise I would have to find the tail, and that would take a lot longer. So... why did they rearrange this and now I can't see the transcripts? Where is the transcript, YouTube? You moved it. I want the transcript, YouTube. Help me to help you. Well, this is just annoying. About, maybe? If I click about, can I see the transcript? No, that is the, that's not right. Well, this has certainly derailed my momentum here. You used to be able to go in the description and see the transcript. But now YouTube has a new layout that is ruining everything. Long story short, when the Scarlet King was defeated, it was by 7 hero characters / somewhat demigods of the SCP universe. And those 7 demigods, including the Isabella form of Dr. Wondertainment, including the Deer, which, if you're familiar with the Deer, that's a pretty big entity, all right. If you're not familiar, that's SCP-2845. And several other entities, but they also had 7 magic spears that belong to the lore of the Scarlet King. I know the Global Occult Coalition has one of them. Gosh darn it, I'm so mad about the transcript. I really wanted the transcript. That would have made this very easy and straightforward. You're a bastard, YouTube. I'll figure this out later. Anywho. Wait, the Scarlet King was defeated, like, permanently? I'm behind. Yes, Intern Mythology Maniac. In that story on the wiki. Which I'm just gonna find it in the video. I'm gonna have to scroll the video like a noob. Hey there, Foundation staff. Sherm here. And so, subtitles. Oh, it's not even giving me subtitles. Oh, that's so annoying! So I can't search this at all. Alright, well, I know the series is by Jorich. So if I look up SCP Scarlet King Jorich, then I will successfully find the end of this. The Jorich verse. Scrolling. Great Fist Harker, Saturn Deer, riding SCP-2845. Set, the Empress of Antarctica, Grace, a Habit, Isabella Helga Anastasia, Parvati Wondertainment V, and Emma then arrived, Isabel having rescued Emma and everyone except 2845, and Emma wielding empowered fragments of his 7th spear. The final battle broke out. The Scarlet King killed everyone except Isabella and Emma. Emma sacrificed herself to propel Isabella into an opening to incapacitate the Scarlet King, the heroes having impaled him on all 7 spear fragments. With the Scarlet King defeated, the small death slit his throat, killing him once and for all, and his corpse sank into the depths. You are looking at the Scarlet King Jorich verse for the series that includes this. But yes, Scarlet King got endgamed, is what we're going to call it. And notice that God is not one of those, to my knowledge. Nor is the Gate Guardian, I will add. So, of the things that have defeated the Scarlet King, one of the deaths, the Power Rangers endgame there, finishing off with probably SCP 729 -J. I bet that thing did it too. I wouldn't be shocked. Scarlet King fled from it while crying, repeating the phrase, "Please forgive me, I repent for stealing God's sandwich and destroying the multiverse." Although it seems like this test might be fake, from junior researcher James. So, okay, that didn't actually happen. That is not canon. Good to know, everyone. But yes, long story short, I stand by my pick of the Scarlet King winning the fight against the Gate Guardian. Power scaling can be fun in moderation, but at the end of the day, you can't take it too seriously. These debates can be fun as long as you're not getting all butthurt and angry and causing fights. Chill with it. That's true of all things, by the way. You can have fun with a lot of things, but if you take it too serial, you're going to get annoying. So don't do that. Watch yourself. Now, with that said, let me catch up on the donos and get to the general Q&A, as well as our stream subject, which will be randomly using a random number generator to pick SCPs and figure out if they are power scaling entities or not. Because everyone thinks we're power scaling entities, and I say the percentage that are is very small. But before I get to that random number generator, Dr. Dark Star, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member, and thank you for making the effort to go through the Ko-Fi. The Ko-Fi only has about 3% fees, while YouTube Super Chats have about 30%. So, thank you for your generosity and making the effort to do that. Hey doc, just got discharged from medical. Apparently I got poisoned. Low dose of cyanide, not to be lethal. The culprit is already in containment. Who is trying to assassino on my premises? Details, please. I need to know what the deal is. The Emperor, thank you for donating again and throwing your beans at SCP-173. A very confusing choice. Dr. Sherman, you are in SCP-7777. That's correct. I was accused of a crime, and I didn't commit the crime and was exonerated. Booyah. Affleck, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself a tuna casserole on your way past the commissary. There is no reason to power scale. We already know who the strongest anomaly is. It is written in stone. Well, yes, that is true. SCP-6101 is literally, in its description, claimed to be the strongest SCP. So, yeah, that is pretty much that. But, you know, knocking the action figures on the lower level entities, that's still up there in the air. Haku Martina, thank you for your first donation and second to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself some peanut brittle on your way past the commissary. I ate the sentient cleaner. I am putting the factory on red. Agent PH. Eating sentient anomalies is very highly against protocol. I'm going to have to ask you to cough it up. And yes, we will put the facility on red until you cough up the sentient cleaner. Foxtrot, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself some Berg on your way past the commissary. Hey, boss, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, but I want to give the artist of the site a dumb inspiration. Site 42 Super Sentai, what are your thoughts? Also, how goes consumption of Le Bible? First of all, Bible stream is already done. Yeah, it was last week's problem. It's already over. My stomach is healed. We're not doing that again. Secondly, we still need to figure out what's going on with the Sons of the Swallowed, but reconnaissance and infiltration is on effort right now. And Site 42 Super Sentai. Well, Super Sentai is a fun genre of corny fiction that's very fun. I am not a Sentai fan only because I've not watched any of it, but I hear it's pretty good. I have a lot of friends who are into it. I should check out some Sentai stuff sometime. But yes, if the artist want to draw some Site 42 Sentai, I am terribly afraid. Because yes, Dr. Sherman in a Sentai, that makes sense. Power levels. You could put a desk in a Sentai suit. What does that look like? Clown Milk Jesus Sentai? Getting scared. And I just know some of you are going to try and put that thing in a Sentai costume, and I'm going to get very annoyed. So, thanks for that. Haku Martina, thank you for donating again. Change of plans. I'm betting it on blackjack. What are you betting on blackjack? You haven't spoken of any currency. What? Confusion is what I have for you right now. Hey, Doc, do you know what is a reality anchor? Because I don't know what they really are. Those are confusing. Imagine an MRI machine. Big honkin' machine. And inside is the corpse of a dead reality bender. And that is powering our ability to anchor reality. They are very big, very expensive. You can't just use them willy-nilly. Razor339, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a cup of joe on your way past the commissary. Not from SCP-294. Can Goku solo literal God? Well, SCP-343, first of all, let me correct you there. SCP-343 is not literal God. It claims to be literal God, but it is nothing but a reality bender with delusions of grandeur. Get it right. It is not the capital G God. Don't just believe whatever an anomaly says to you, please. Secondarily, I'm just trying to remember Goku's reality survival. Because Goku can get stronger and stronger, but being just poof from existence is another thing. And in the death battles I've seen power scaling Goku, like Goku versus Superman, Superman is just not magically bending reality in that manner. So, I would imagine you could just poof Goku out of existence and end the fight right there. I would imagine. Especially because all the gods in Dragon Ball that I know of, they're always still fighting with the same lasers that everyone else is. They're just that much stronger. But they're not like, just poof. I wonder. Okay, I saw a Ko-Fi notification. Let me grab that before I forget. Dr. Darkstar, thank you for donating through the Ko-Fi again. Just private message you the details. I am okay with you sharing the details, but I'm putting the decision up to you. Interesting. Interesting. All right, well, we will look over that when we have time. Okay. Site 42, could SD Lock's proposal affect 682? Intern has been. When day breaks in the canon at least created by Dr. Sumerian and Mr. Illustrated on Mr. Illustrated's YouTube channel, in that When Day Breaks canon, 682 is melted by the When Day Breaks scenario. Meaning that even though 682 kept regenerating, it was not able to regenerate fast enough as more and more of it became flesh being. So there we are. 682 gets clocked by the literal sun. JoJo Films, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. All right, here is the first of our random number generation. Is this SCP a power scaling entity or not? In between 1 and 10,000, and we'll see what we get. Our first contestant on Are You a Power Scaling Playground Prank? Is 4761. What is SCP-4761? I don't know. I feel like we've talked about this number recently. Codename, Lost in Yesterday. Description. SCP-4761 is an anomalous capitalistic entity operating through online commerce platforms. All interactions with 4761 go through a single anonymous individual and whom describes themselves as a licensed Arcadia dealer. 4761 operates under the brand name Finished Instant Fortune and exclusively sells vintage electronics, primarily video games. Posts relating to 4761 are only viewable by individuals with experience consuming interactive media and have no prior knowledge of 4761's effects. Such subjects will be served listings for things they owned during childhood and their adolescence. It sells you your old video games with alterations. And you always recollect stronger traumatic memories associated with the period in life originally utilized in the game. So, I'm going to go with online secondhand video game retailer, not a power scaler. Is that pretty cool with everyone? The online sales guy, not really a power scaling entity? That's one for not power scaling entities today. Returning to the chat real quick to check in. Researcher America, I'm just going to give you this tip as a creator to creator. Advertising your live in someone else's live that they're actively watching is not a great marketing strategy because they're here watching someone else. Unless they want to watch you, then maybe it works. I'm not mad or nothing. I just want to tell you I don't think it's a great strat. Random videos. Welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Are there any SCP matchups you would want to see on Death Battle? I hear 682 versus Doomsday pretty often. Well, on Death Battle Cast, their podcast discussing audience ideas, they did 2 different SCP matchups. They did 682 versus Doomsday as a cast discussion, and they also did SCP-096 versus the JoJo Stand Wonder of You. And 682 won its bout, 096 lost its bout. So, those 2 have been discussed, and hey, maybe they'll reach out to me for lore if they go into the SCP-verse. Death Battle, wouldn't mind chatting with you. But, if any entity were going to be on Death Battle, I'd like it to be something a little more, plucky. Like, I'd like to see SCP-4051, your friendly neighborhood Keter, go up against some street-level superhero. Because there is portals and items being popped out. You could get very interesting with how you play with that. So, I don't know who we would match 4051 up with, but I think 4051 would make a fun Death Battle character. Intern Holland, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a Tutti Frutti ice cream bar on your way past the commissary. Is the dreaded mole monster an SCP? I don't know what the dreaded mole monster is. Is this some sort of creepy pasta thing? Is this just something you made up? A quick Google search does not lead me to the words dreaded mole monster. So I'm sorry, Intern Holland, I have no idea what you're talking about, so I can't answer your question. 2 people in chat have asked me how to write an SCP and rules for writing an SCP. What I'm going to do for both of you is I'm going to show you right now on the SCP database, the front page of the wiki. If you go to the front page of the SCP wiki here, in the top left corner you will see a sidebar. And on that sidebar, right here at the top, getting started. Guide for newcomers. Join the site. Contribute. Frequently asked questions. And Universe Hub. You need to read those things to get started. That is your starting line. That is your homework. Desk has also shared a writing tips video we have here on the channel. All right, returning to chat, refreshing. All right, I see something here on the Ko-Fi notification. First of all, Mr. Somewhat Man, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a banana muffin on your way past the commissary. Just wondering, what's your opinion on SCP-3700 and the team behind it? I am unfamiliar with 3700 off the top of my head, and I don't know who the team behind it is. So, SCP-3700, codename Tides of War. I've never heard of this anomaly, so I don't have any opinions on it. At a plus 387, it seems to be well received by the community. It's the designation for a circular area in the North Sea with a diameter of 800 kilometers, encompassing the archipelagos of Faroe, Orkney, and Shetland. 3700 has an abnormal depth, with the seafloor located approximately 5 kilometers below ocean surface, compared to the average 250 to 300 meters for the rest of the North Sea. A vast array of anomalous occurrences due to ritualistic interactions between two entities. Oh, this is two entities. Two sea entities that go to war every time period or something. And the Foundation helps the good guy entity win. Okay, I'm familiar with this. What do you mean by the team behind it, though? It seems like it's written by just one author. This is a Dr. Bleep, prolific author on the wiki, and a pretty good member of staff as well. I have no quarrel with Bleep. They do good work, both running the site and writing for the wiki as well. So, yeah. I got nothing there, my friend. Just chilling. Now, I saw something else here real quick. Alright, let's get back here and clear things up. There we are. Cool Man Fight, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself some nachos on your way past the commissary. God, I want some nachos now. Gonna have to get nachos for lunch. Note to self, nachos. The tungsten rod from Orbit work against Snyder's. I knew it would. Not many things can tank that. They are all unalive in holy fire. We love that for them. We did lose 8 heavy fire and 2 mobile task force members. A worthy loss for getting the hell rid of those Snyders. Has there been any new SCPs? Intern Uzamoon, you would not believe how many new SCPs there are. If I just go onto the wiki, and once again, I'm going to give you guys a little intro to the wiki mention here. Check this out. If you go to the front page of the SCP Wiki again, and you click on that corner sidebar opener, then once the sidebar opens, there is this section right here called the feed. And the feed has the new pages. So this is every new SCP that's been dropped or tail. Any story on the wiki, this is the newest here. You can also rank by the newest and shortest articles, or the newest and highest rated. And so let's go to new pages and we'll see what's new. SCP-9303 was just posted. And so let's see what 9303 is. All right, a pretty standard format. That image there is looking pretty snazzy. A little worried about what this is. This is a plus 11, so it's not a failing article. I'd say it's of a not too long, but a fair length. Description. Let me put this down so I can read properly. 9303 was found inside a civilian office building in New York while employees were testing their safety and security measures. Fire alarm was activated as part of a standard procedure, activating the exit signs and causing 9303 to reveal itself. Field agents were soon dispatched and all civilians present were amnesticized. That's discovery. That's not description. Dr. Sherman, learn how to read. 9303 is a 1.83 meter tall, thin humanoid with a large aluminum ventilation cover replacing the face. This cover filters the air that 9303 breathes for dust and debris, which it relies on as its primary food source. While unhidden, 9303 has a gray skin tone. 9303 hides itself inside ventilation shafts by removing and replacing ventilation covers with its own head, using an adhesive layer on its skin to scale walls and being able to blend its skin color with the environment. Once 9303 finishes feeding, it places the previous cover back and maneuvers to a more secluded area to emit red bioluminescence from spots on its skin. This allows methane buildup to escape, which is a form of waste disposal. 9303 is passive and lacks any aggressive behavior, although it is unknown whether or not 9303 is sapient. 9303, once presented with sources of red lighting other than itself, will begin to pace around it. This purpose behind this behavior is unknown. Is it trying to mate with the exit signs? I hope not. Anomaly, please do not fraternize with the exit signs. Alright, well, can read through that later, but I think we know that it's not a power scaling entity, so I'm adding that to the list. Thank you, Ravehaven, for being ahead of me on that one. Coming back to refresh the chat. Junior Researcher HLG, first of all, long time no see, hope you've been doing well. Secondly, yes, you are correct. By 2 likes. The likes are currently higher than the viewer count. Congratulations, Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codename Signal Boosters, for your work in getting that like count above the viewer count, which is sure to make YouTube's algorithm bring us more viewers, who will then see SCP happening in real time and go, what is that? SCP on my YouTube Shorts feed? Get out of town! And that's when they subscribe to Psi-42 and they join the ranks of Mobile Task Force Psi-42 to help us to reach out and make better SCP content alongside the SCP authors, artists, animators, game devs, filmmakers, merch makers, etc. I thank you for your service in helping out the SCP community. I always wanted to see you read a new article, so that was great. Well, very nice. Good day for you, new philosopher. So how do you decide which Mobile Task Force unit would go get them and what site they would be taken to? Well, Intern Zeta, we decide based on the anomaly's capabilities or location. Obviously, if it's an underground cave, we're going to send the mole rats. If it's something big and burly, we're going to send a stronger, more well-armed Mobile Task Force. Different strokes for different folks. Mu-13, codenamed the Ghostbusters, for spectral anomalies. You know, just, we got to play rock, paper, scissors. It's like a Pokemon battle. You got to send the right one. Junior Researcher HLG, I'm so sorry that you're going through that. It's a very tough thing, even being on the outside of it, just for family members to go through that and dealing with it. I hope for the best prognosis for you and yours. Would a researcher ever be sent with a Mobile Task Force? Yes, Amber, there are times where a researcher escort is necessary to send along with the Mobile Task Force members. Not very often. Usually the agents can't handle it. But there are times where there's specialized equipment that a researcher might need to go alongside. All right, everyone. The next random number generation is SCP-2014. 2014. What is SCP-2014? Codename Zarmegath. Description: SCP-2014 is an adult male gecko belonging to Eblepharis macularius species, measuring 8.5 centimeters in length. 2014 is physically indistinguishable from other members of its species. 2014 is sapient and possesses telekinetic abilities. It can use these abilities to manipulate objects from afar. 2014 is capable of manipulating any object within 24 meters of itself, regardless of whether or not it is visible. 2014 identifies itself as Zarmagoth, an extra-dimensional entity suspected to have been responsible for creating multiple cults and causing several crimes, such as murder, theft, and indecent exposure. 2014 came to the attention of the Foundation on the 21st of February 1998, when one of the contestants in a skateboarding championship in Los Angeles, California, was seen performing physically impossible stunts. It was later discovered that the contestant had performed an occult ritual in order to summon the consciousness of Zarmagoth into the body of his pet gecko. 2014 was kept inside the pocket of the contestant and used its telekinetic powers to give him an advantage in the championship. All witnesses were given Class B amnestics. Why did this entity's being summoned into a gecko help the skateboarder? I got help. Okay, there's an interview here, and this is going to be a weird one. Let me, Hello, SCP-2014. Can you understand me? Loud and clear, Daco. I want to ask you some questions, if you don't mind. Sure, that sounds gnarly. The body you are occupying is not your original one, correct? That's right. I got dibs on this lizard booty when this wimpy kid summoned me. Dude was flipping his wig over some skate competition. I could see he was a total noob that would make nothing but sketchy moves. But I couldn't believe I was being summoned for something like that, you know? And the little flake didn't even bring me a sacrifice. Don't kids read Lovecraft these days? This person summoned you to get an advantage in the competition, is that right? Yeah, little guy wanted me to use my wicked powers to kick his skills up a notch. Nothing against that, but I personally think you should work for what you want. Just look at yours truly. Dozens of cults have stolen, killed, and totally wigged out in my name. Then why did you help him? I gotta be honest, Daco. Every rule has its exception. And the exception for me was skating. Because on all my eons, I've never seen something so far out. I used to think you guys were all a bunch of flakes, who I would gladly destroy once I became powerful enough. But now, I know better. I see. You also claim to be an extra-dimensional entity. Could you tell us more about where you came from, and if there are more like you there? It is pretty insane. There are planets and stars like in your universe, but life ain't the same. We got stuff like planet-sized, star-eating crystal serpents, sick lightning storms that fertilize the ground to create clockwork plants, some chill oceans filled with diamond corals, and also winged carnivorous eggs that never stop singing Spice Girl songs. And yeah, there's a bajillion guys like me. It's hella hard to stand out from the crowd to get someone to summon you and give a sacrifice. But I get by. What would happen if your current body were destroyed? I would go back home. And if I didn't get a sacrifice, the wife and slime spawn wouldn't be too stoked about it. You have a wife and child? Dude, please don't remind me. All right, this is enough for the interview. Thank you, SCP-2014. Hey, Daco, can I ask you a favor? That depends. See if you can find some time to go skating with me. I can teach you wicked moves if you're in the mood. I'll think about it. Well, I, number one, think that SCP-2014 is a righteous bro. And hey, what if we had Zarmagoth here teamed up with one of my favorite non-canon anomalies, Coney Hawk. Coney Hawk skateboarding competition? Okay, we're building it, guys. We're building it. That is 2 skateboarding anomalies. What other skateboarding anomalies are there? I am very interested. All right, I saw a Ko-Fi notification. Let me double check that so I don't miss it. Moon Girl, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, and thank you for making the effort to go through the Ko-Fi. Grab yourself some taquitos on your way past the commissary. What do you think of the Lobotomy Corporation Abnos, specifically the birds, judgment punishing big apocalypse? Lobotomy Corporation abnormalities, okay. specifically the birds. Judgment punishing big apocalypse. Lobotomy, corp, birds. Monstrous abnormality, which only appears when punishing bird, judgment bird, and big bird are merged together. Okay, so this is the big bird then. Monster possesses a bandage-covered body on head of bird of judgment at the top of it, mouth of punishing bird in the front of its abdomen. Unlike other breaching anomalies, this one can't be suppressed by usual means because it's immune to all damage. It can only be defeated by destroying the eggs around the facility. Its encyclopedia can be accessed from the storage. Okay, so... Well, I don't like when anomalies team up or merge. Not my favorite. But I do be thinking we'll be need those eggs. I do be thinking we be need those eggs. Yeesh. Why would the frickin'... Why are they Morphin Time Megazording together? It's so weird. Commissar Pfeiffer, thank you for your 6-month member message as a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service. Grab yourself a enchilada on your way past the commissary, and Merry Christmas to you too. I am writing a tale series and I don't know how to do this. A Foundation doctor is secretly a reality bender, and I want the last tale to have the story, then her SCP article. Should I do that or post both? What most people do in the scenario you're talking about is on the last tale in the series, after the tale ends, last line, it goes down and it shows the SCP article for that anomaly within the tale itself. Usually this is because SCP articles need to be able to stand alone, and unless your SCP article for that anomaly, that anomalous reality bending staff member, is compelling enough to last on its own, it won't matter if it's connected to the nearby tales. So what most people do is they put it at the bottom of the last tale. It transitions into the SCP article from there. Okay, and by the way, just so you know, 2014, Skateboarding Elder God, not a power scaling entity. Even as a Elder God, trapped in a gecko body with only 24 meters of telekinesis reach, nothing. Alright, refreshing the chat. And here is our next roll. Number generator, go! The next SCP to check out is SCP-4016. SCP-4016 is our next entity. Or object, I don't know what it is. Oop. Intern Cross, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Before I start reading this, Tarleton Fox, you asked, what is power scaling? Power scaling is the act of just debating who would win a fight. In today's example, it was the Scarlet King versus the Gate Guardian. Whose power is stronger and would win? And depending on how seriously you're taking it and how much ass-pull logic you are using, it can get pretty heated if people take it too seriously, and it makes it no fun. Also, people accuse the SCP Foundation of doing just that, and the people who accuse us of that have clearly never read the site, because they think most of our entities are power-scaling wannabe anomalies who, oh, yeah, I wrote the strongest SCP, and you can't beat it. No, I wrote the strongest SCP, and you can't beat it. Rawr, 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 rawr. And obviously that's not what our community is like, but they would have to actually read the stories to find that out. So yes, we are going through the wiki to see how many SCPs I can pull up at random and if we'll find a, quote, power scaling entity in the lot. So, SCP-4016, codename of Mice and Twine. 4016 is a sapient humanoid construct made of twine. The entity stands at approximately 15 centimeters in height and weighs approximately 10 grams. 4016's primary anomalous effect is its ability to manipulate the twine composing its body to create various tools for use, including cleaning implements, artistic styluses, and simple weapons. Despite not possessing any identifiable sensory organs, 4016 is able to respond to both visual and auditory communication. It is able to interact with humans through a combination of pantomime and symbolic representation using its twine. The entity is pictured here. Here's your little twine guy. So, I have just a guess that the 15 centimeter twine entity is not a power scaling entity. I'm just guessing, but you never know. Let's check what it does. We have a recording of the discovery. Its friends were killed by mice, so not exactly the most powerful SCP. Oh, did manage to kill a mouse. Okay, our little twine guy killed a mouse. That's pretty impressive. It does not look like our entity is going to do that well. So, I believe that we are, once again, not a power scaling entity. Dr. Frogman, I do not remember the previous streams or what their score counts were. Although they do have, what's the phrase I'm looking for? I do usually keep count by the end of stream. So if you check the previous power scaling streams, you will see what they were. Meanwhile, Desk, to answer your question, it's 4016. 4016 is the answer. Ta-da. Alright, checking the chat. We are refreshed. All systems are go. Okay, what if we take another... Oh, real quick before I do. Commissar Pfeiffer, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a chili dog on your way past the commissary. What task force would be fine in Far Cry 3? Far Cry 3. Well, I don't remember that game in particular. Where did it take place? It took place on an island. Indonesia, Rook Islands. So, I mean, those are just typically run and gun shooters, so any team with proper firearms should have a pretty good list. Does Far Cry even have anomalies? I've never played a Far Cry game, so I'm asking. Do these games have anomalies? I always thought they were just people. People doing stuff. And shooting people. So, I don't know that Mobile Task Force would be necessary for that scenario. Desk is informing me there are no anomalies, so yeah, any scientists, any Mobile Task Force with decent weapons should be fine. Okay, back to the chat. What is happening? I just got here. EC Chair. We are using a random number generator to pull up SCP entities and decide whether they are power scaling entities or not. Because everyone off-site seems to think that all SCPs are power scaling entities, even though they are not. You're both like a robust character. Entered Fuentes. I do consider myself to be both robust and zesty. So yes, I agree with your statement. Commissar Pfeiffer, thank you for gifting a Site 42 membership to today's Containment Hazard Assessment Team. Thank you for your generosity bringing up the ranks. And Intern Gray, the Prince of Hell, since you are now a level 1 researcher, make sure to thank Commissar Pfeiffer when you get the opportunity. Obviously, they might not be in stream. Sometimes it gifts to people who aren't watching, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. All right, next up on our random number generation game, we have SCP-4806. We're getting a lot of 4000s today. A lot of 4000s today. Codename Appels du Vide. Appels du Vide. Description. SCP-4806 are tower cranes that appear spontaneously at construction sites in metropolitan areas. As an instance has never been observed being assembled or transported, it is currently theorized that 4806 manifests instantaneously, typically during the early morning. 4806 also appear to manifest worldwide and at random, with instances recorded across 45 countries. Only one instance of 4806 will manifest at a time, and time gaps between manifestations range from 2 days to 5 months. It is unclear if 4806 instances are simply identical, or if 4806 is a single object manifesting in different locations, though all instances exhibit consistent, though not completely similar, properties. In 70% of manifestations, 4806 will remain at their locations for approximately 24 hours before demanifesting. Instances carry a strong mimetic effect. Any individuals working at construction sites, when questioned about it, appear confused or nonchalant, stating that the subject has been on site for weeks. Other civilian witnesses also demonstrate apathy toward this entity, even if the manifestation occurs under direct observation. Demanifestation will occur after all construction personnel have left the site or 24 hours have elapsed. In 30% of instances, a vaguely humanoid figure, designated -A, manifests at the tip of the crane's jib during midday, typically around 1:30 p.m. When observing -A, onlookers will become convinced that the entity is a suicidal individual and immediately begin displaying signs of distress. Because these cranes appear in highly populated areas, this effect is highly contagious, spreading through crowds rapidly as more and more people draw attention to the -A. The spread has been confirmed to be non-anomalous. After initial observation, any nearby individuals will inevitably attempt to access the crane in order to scale it and dissuade the -A from suicide. This behavior is often highly aggressive, self-endangering, and frantic. Should the individual succeed at accessing the crane, either by breaching and ascending the tower ladder or using another object to enter 4806, they will inevitably position themselves at the end of the crane jib and attempt to make verbal or physical contact with 4806-A. Though the jib can be elevated upwards of 60 meters in the air, affected individuals have no signs of vertigo or fear. They will plead with the 4806 entity to get away from the tip of the crane. If the individual steps within 5 meters of the -A, 4806 will instantaneously demanifest, sending any persons currently on top of SCP-4806 falling, typically resulting in death. If the individual stops within 1 meter of 4806-A, 4806-A will extend an arm-like appendage to the individual's shoulder before vanishing. Any individuals currently positioned on the crane will then cease all vocalization and make their way to the jib. Once all persons are on the jib, they will synchronously jump, at which point the crane will demanifest. And if you make contact, if you actually touch the -A, it will put the arm-like thing into your shoulder. The individual's figure will begin flickering rapidly before vanishing for 3.5 seconds, so you become a spooky ghost. During these 3.5 seconds, the individual's corpse will manifest on the ground below the tip of the jib. The condition of the corpses from past incidents suggests significant trauma consistent with high-velocity impact. Immediately after the span of time, the corpse will reappear on top of 4806, slumped over the jib. The dash A will then vanish, and the individual's corpse will levitate to the entity's prior position and take its place, at which point 4806 and the corpse will demanifest. So, it is a crane that appears with a dead body at the top that looks like it's alive, and if you try to save it, you become the dead body. That's not great. That's not great. But I would hardly count this as a power scaling entity. So, that's another one in our favor, everyone. Evil Haunted Grain can totally beat Goku. 369 Destroyer, no. I mean, technically, yes, Goku's kind of dumb. Falling for mimetic effects, I do not think is a problem for Goku. So I think that Goku would absolutely fall for that. Is SCP-2317 the Scarlet King or just like an extension of him? First of all, intern customer, it's an it. All anomalies are objects, not people. They are its, not hims, or hows, or it, she's. They are its. Please practice proper pronoun parlance protocols at the Foundation. Furthermore, SCP-2317, though mistaken for the Scarlet King many a time, is not the Scarlet King. Word of God from the author himself. That is not the Scarlet King. Commissar Pfeiffer, thank you for donating again. I believe the players that's in Far Cry games are anomalies in one way or another, since most of the injuries would kill the normal person. You gotta figure that injury and health point damage is more of a, you know, if medkits can heal it, it's not that big a deal. It's more of a situation where, you know, like they said back when it was the Uncharted games, that Nathan Drake is not tanking thousands of bullets. It is his luck running out, and the more shots that are getting shot at him, the less lucky he is until he finally gets shot. Time check. Moonston. And I do know that Dr. Frogman asked as well earlier, but I was in the middle of something. We are currently 15 minutes from the end of stream. 15 minutes from the end of stream. Let's get another RNG generated. Ooh, okay. This time we're going to the 3-digit SCPs. We're talking about SCP-383. What is SCP-383? Codename, Variably Useful Flu. SCP-383 is a viral infection, first categorized as a variant of influenza. The initial symptoms are similar to those of the common cold, ranging through a variety of aches and pains, sinus issues, sore throat, upset stomach, coughing, sneezing, fatigue. It appears to only be capable of infecting human hosts, but has been observed to be carried by other animals such as rats and pigeons. Similar to a common infection, 383 will work its way through the human body naturally within a few days or faster with routine antivirals. However, it is also accompanied by extreme waves of nausea. Along with bringing up the contents of the host's stomach, 383 appears to be capable of, through unknown means, producing random items. These items are always sized appropriately to the host's mouth, even if it appears infeasible for them to originate from the stomach, suggesting that these items are actually produced either in the mouth or throat. More often than not, these items are useful individually to the host. For example, a host inside of a locked room may regurgitate a key or a lockpit set or a crowbar to try and pry the door open. While the results are far from consistent, the only pattern shown is that 383 always produces items of use to the host in one way or another. 383 has even been observed to create living animals and complex mechanical devices. Although 383 would seem to have a great potential as a Foundation asset, it should be noted that these items do not spontaneously appear. Rather, they are created from biomass from the human body. Victims are prone to anemia, nutrition loss, bone damage, and severe weight loss depending on the fashion of items produced. Items that contain substances not found often inside the human body are often replaced with similar substances or missing non-vital parts. Infections can also cause damage to the mouth and esophagus and a weakening of the immune system. Hosts have also been observed to have a risk of choking on any items produced from 383. Overall, I believe quite clearly, not a power scaling entity. Not a power scaling entity, I would believe. So, continuing on with our hot streak. We have not had any power scalers today. 383 can also beat Goku. Well, 369 Destroyer, I mean, Goku did get killed by heart disease, so not immune to viruses, I'm just saying. Alright. Double checking the Ko-Fi just to make sure I didn't miss a notification. We're good. Continuing on. Random number next. You can't find any unused numbers? Intern Zim, you're going to have to go to Series 10, which is the 9000s. I believe the last time we looked through the database, there was maybe one SCP slot vacant in 2 or 3 other series. Otherwise, they were all maximally full. Thoughts on 3312? Codename OO, what's this? The anomalous fur mimetic hazard? I think it's a pretty funny article. Gets a little gruesome at the end in a tasty way. And it did spawn the tail mobile task furries. So we got to give it props for that. It's pretty funny. All right, our next randomly generated SCP to look into, another one in the early database numbers. We have SCP-446. What is SCP-446? Well, before I do that, let me check something real quick. I made SCP-9870 today. It's my first entry. Are you proud of me? Well, intern Newbite, I will say I am proud of you for trying. I will say that. But pulling up the article, it is not surviving the community vote very strongly. At a current -8, it looks like you did not successfully write an article that qualifies to stay on the SCP Wiki. What I would suggest is go back to the top left corner of the main page, the guide for newcomers and all that. It looks like you successfully joined the site, but you didn't go through the idea, the green light, or the critique phases. That would have helped this to become an article worthy of staying on the site. So unfortunately, while I am proud of you for trying, I'd appreciate it if you tried a little harder. You should take your next idea that you go for. You should take it to the Greenlight forums, get an SCP staff member to say, hey, that's a good idea, or no, that's not a good idea, try another one. Then once you're greenlit, you should write your article. Okay, you did get greenlit, good to know. Once you get greenlit, you need to write your article, and then you need to go through the critique phase. The critique phase is when you show your SCP article to other people to confirm that it is not just good to you, but it's good to other people. And the critique phase can be 3 to 5 to 10 waves of writing your article, showing it to someone, having them give you notes, and then updating your article, showing it to someone, getting your notes, updating it, improving it. And so it looks like to me, you did not very much go through this critique process. You got to make sure you get critique from people who are good writers. This is a writing community. If you get critique from someone who's not a good writer, you're not going to get very good critique. On the same token, if you can get SCP authors to critique your article, that's even better, because then they are literally the people who know how to write an SCP. They would be the best people to get advice from. So yes, I do believe, my friend, that this needs a little more cooking. It's tough to get something on. This community has high standards. Keep trying and working. That's the best way to improve. Indeed, indeed. And as Dust says, the crypt process is extremely important. You need to run it by people. I've had some articles that were formatted properly, and I had all my stuff together, and I posted it, and I got ribbed on because I tried to do what's called a cold post, posting without critique. And I've done that before successfully, but it's a crapshoot. Sometimes what you like will not resonate with an audience. And so you got to get your critique process in unless you are damn sure you have knocked it out of the park. Intern 1-up. Slenderman is not an SCP at all. It was created off the SCP Wiki. It is not on the SCP Wiki. Therefore, it is not an SCP, although it is anomalous. Chat is refreshed. We currently have 7 minutes left in stream. 7 minutes. So get your last questions in. So what's your thoughts on kitsunes? They're anomalous. They go in a box. Clearly. Are they commissary staff telepaths because they recreated my texted recipe perfectly? A chef never reveals their secrets. I've been waiting for you to go live to ask a question. Well, intern Snaggletooth, you might have just wasted your shot. I don't know if I'll see your next question, but I saw that. Woof. Your shirt looks like the Starry Night. Well, I can see that with the color palette a little. I mean, it's just a Aloha shirt, but yeah, I can see what you mean. How long do you personally study the anomalies, Doctor? Well, Intern Dark, now that I am site director, I do handle a lot more administrative work, but I get time to study anomalies now and again. Not as much as I used to, but now and then. All right, SCP-446 was our next SCP to check on if it's a power scaling entity. Let's see what we've got, people. Description, SCP-4, codename Human Mannequin. SCP-446 in its normal state appears to be a Caucasian female, early 20s, brown hair, at its longest point, 17.78 centimeters. Unusually bright blue eyes, light skin with a tattoo of the Marshall, Carter, and Dark logo on its lower back. 1.75 meters tall and weighing 52.16 kilograms. 446 is anatomically correct, at least on the outside. All physical characteristics are consistent with a living human, including skin tone and texture, eye color and clarity of the sclera, even body heat. 446 does not respond to any communication, however, and does not breathe or exhibit a pulse. It's normally stored lying on its back inside a long aluminum box with a hinged lid. Its storage box were discovered in Redacted by agents Redacted and Redacted. Why is it important to redact that? You can move and pose the mannequin, but it's just a human body, but a mannequin. So I'm gonna go with not a power scaling entity. This one isn't doing much of anything, actually. All right, refreshing the chat, seeing where you guys are. I still think that pen is an anomaly. Have you had it tested? Yes. It is a completely normal, non-anomalous, non-human pen. What SCP is just God? I mean, we have several gods, so-called, in containment. Greek gods, Hindu gods, all sorts. We have 5 different Jizai in containment. We are lousy with the Jesuses. So, yeah, many a gods. This guy watched GoldenEye a lot. Intern Conduit, are you talking about the music? The music is by friend of the channel, Billith, and his music program, Slowgramming. Slowgramming on Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. If you want to listen to some cool experimental music. A lot of it inspired by stories on the SCP database, as Billith is in fact an SCP author. Now, regardless of the music, I did in fact watch GoldenEye a lot. It is my favorite James Bond movie, as well as GoldenEye 64 was my jam. Does anyone know how to get my SCP greenlit? Intern Zim, please go to that starting section in the top left of the wiki homepage, the beginners section, and it will tell you about the greenlight process. All right, we got time for one more random number generation here. Oh, we're going big numbers now. What is SCP-8718? And is it a power scaling entity? 8718, it does not have its code name on its page, so I gotta look at it real quick. 9000s, 8000s, 8718. Code name, Spear of the People. Spear of the People. Did I read the right one? Oh, no, that's just okay. SCP-8718 is an anomalous species of vine native to the Republic of South Africa, suspected to be from the genus Ceropegia. The species is currently unidentified, but is visually similar to Ceropegia ampliata. SCP-8718 is capable of electrogenesis. Study indicates lower electricity production at night, suggesting the process is an advanced form of photosynthesis. The flowers of 8718 are non-anomalous. So, electric vines that work as power lines. Okay. Next iteration. For the purpose of clarity, all augmented specimens of 8718 are henceforth reclassified as 8718-1. Collective designation for Botanotech constructs developed by the Southern African Anomalies Agency that take the form of mass of mobile vines. Full sensory and martial capabilities of the -1, organic, anomalous, or otherwise, are not known. Combines nanotechnology with anomalous species of vine native to the Republic of South Africa. So they took the anomalous vine and they put nanobots in it. What could possibly go wrong? Intern Hazel, your rudeness is silly and immature. Do better. Okay, so now the nanobots in the vines. For the purpose of clarity, this version of SCP-8718 is designated 8718-2, Containment Class Keter. SCP-8718-2 is an eigenweapon of indeterminate size. While measuring both its size and range is possible, access to 8718-2 is currently prohibited by the S3A, South African Anomalies something or other. Due to its ambulatory nature, the -2 is considered highly dangerous, and reliance on further covert operations will be necessary before engaging in further hostilities with the S3A. So it looks like they built an anomalous superweapon. Great. All right, I'll give you this. It's wholly possible a nanobot electrovine eigenweapon could possibly be used as a power scaling thing. You know what? I will actually give this one to the power scalers because they've had a really bad day. They have not won up till now, so I'm just going to give them one. All right. And Site 42 staff, this is the end of our stream for the day. And as always, at the end of stream, I tell you guys my favorite SCPs. But of course, I'm not going to tell you the SCPs I personally wrote are my favorite. That would be cheating. That would be illegal. Complete narcissism. But guess what? If you want to read the SCPs I personally wrote, you can go to the Sherm Site 42 Hub and author page on the SCP Wiki. There you can see the SCPs I personally wrote, as well as contributed voice lines or sound effects to. And while you're there, on that page, there's some links one page over from there. Links people are often very wanting to find, but they just can't seem to figure it out. They're just not smart enough. It's a real shame. But that's not you guys, Mobile Task Force Sci-42 codename Signal Boosters. No, you guys will find those links, I'm sure of it. And while you're at those links, you can become a Sci-42 Patreon patron or YouTube channel member to donate to us monthly. You can do Ko-Fis or YouTube Super Chats to donate to us once at a time. Either way, direct donations are the easiest way to help us keep the lights on here at Site42, so we appreciate you for that. And if you are part of the Broke Gang, and trust me, we're an arts community, we are familiar with starving artists, you are still a highly valuable member of Mobile Task Force Sci-42, codenamed the Signal Boosters. By liking, sharing, subscribing to all of our SCP Site42 YouTube content, as well as doing the same for SCP projects we send you to on a mission, such as SCP animated shows or live-action films and games, etc., you are helping to boost the profile and engage more donations for those projects, which means those creators will want to keep making SCP things because they're getting the support they need. And that's how we get AAA SCP games and full feature films in the future. So Mobile Task Force Sci-42 codename Signal Boosters, thank you for your service. Also, Lovely Gray, Molten, and Darkstar, welcome to Site-42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Now, without further ado, my favorite SCPs in no particular order are SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980. Content warning on that last one, it's a bit of a rough read. Speed round. 3999-3043-008-J, Spooky-J, 503-15175-5320-8980. Content warning on the last one, it's a rough read. Site-42 staff, this has been Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director of Site-42 of the SCP Foundation. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect. I'll see you in the next video or stream. The Kabusha mushroom people sitting around all day. Who can believe you? Who can believe you? Let your mother pray. Sugar. I'm not there all the time. You know, some people call it insane. Yeah, they call it insane. I play Russian roulette every day, a man's sport, with a bullet called life. Yeah, mama, called life. You know that every time I try to go where I really want to be, it's already where I am. 'Cause I'm already there. The kombucha mushroom people sitting around all day. Who can believe you? Who can believe you? Let your mother pray. The credit song is Sugar by System of a Down. Be safe, be well, Site-42 staff. Secure, contain, protect. And America, thank you for your first donation of today's stream right at the last minute. Being a member, grab yourself some tostadas at the commissary, and congratulations on your live. Later, team.